I think there's the United States base on Mars? On the moon. I have dreaded that question for years. I have hesitated to speak out about what I've learned because of the sensitivity of this subject. I will tell you this. The United States has a separate space program, totally separate from NASA. We've had this separate space program now for over 30 years. It's under the command and auspices of what they call the Aerospace Command. The military have been launching craft from a variety of different places in the United States for years and years. They launch out of Vandenberg Air Force Base. They launch out of Site 51 in Nevada and Groom Lake. They launch out of a site in Utah. And they launch out of an American alien joint base on Kwajalein Atoll in the Pacific Islands. The American people have been literally taken to the cleaners, if you'll pardon the term. Trillions of dollars have been stolen from the American taxpayer that have totally disappeared. To give you an example, in the years 1998, 99, and 2000, $1.7 trillion a year disappeared from the Department of Defense accountability. And when this information was delivered to Congress, I would have thought, most of my friends would have thought, there would have been an outrage, a complaint, a demand to know the answer to this. Where in the world did all this money go? Well, this money has been going into this separate space program. We have technology, capabilities far beyond what the average human being would imagine. Yes, we are in space. Yes, we are on the moon, and God help us, yes, we have gone to Mars. Just give you another example of the outrage and the crime that has been committed against the American people. In the year 2001, the day before 9/11, are you all familiar with the Twin Towers destruction? The day before that event took place, the Secretary of Defense made an announcement publicly that we seem to have misplaced and lost $3 trillion.
That's correct.
In addition to the 1.7 per year for the 3 previous years. But there was no outrage in Congress. It didn't appear in the American media. But congressional representatives who are supposed to represent the average American did not declare complaint and outrage. The whole thing was forgotten because of the Holocaust, the heartbreak, the disaster of 9/11. But the very day before, the Secretary of Defense announced $3 trillion was missing. Now, this is the money that goes into the support of this separate space program that we have been running now for years. I will close by giving you just as a small example. A brilliant American aerospace engineer by the name of Ben Rich, who ran a research organization in California called the Skunk Works. It was an incredibly advanced aerospace technology from one of our top aerospace organizations. Ben retired a number of years ago, and during his retirement speech, he said, "Hey, I got a surprise for you. We can take E.T. home." Now, this was about the same time the movie E.T. was appearing throughout the country. We have the ability to take E.T. home. And everybody looked at him and said, "My God, Ben, what are you talking about?" And what up to the blackboard, took a piece of chalk, he wrote, "Unfunded opportunities." And everybody looked at each other and said, "What the hell is he talking about? Unfunded opportunities." Ben went over to the board again and he circled UFO. And then he left the stage. So, some of them have been trying to tell us what they can do. Some of us have been trying to give us some indication of what is taking place. But yes, the American space program, the one that the American people know nothing about, does have an installation on the moon alongside alien facilities, and we do now have a small facility on Mars alongside Martian capabilities. This is part of the scandal that I was referring to you before that causes me and others like me to have such outrage that the American people who have, they're good people, they're damn good, hard-working people, and they have for years bled and given everything they had to this program, this country, this constitutional system, and they've been lied to so repeatedly that I must tell you I am fearful that the American mass public is reaching a point where they may not decide to take this anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, I am fearful to tell you they are buying guns and they are stockpiling ammunition. I live in the Southwest, and it's going on, and these people are so angry, and so angry at their government for all the lies that I'm fearful that an event may occur where we will have another American revolution. And I fear that because there will be blood in the streets. And I've been through 2 wars, and I don't want to see another one. But the American people deserve better than what they've been getting from their government. This economic slump that you're all aware of, which is worldwide, millions of American working people have lost their jobs. They're losing their homes. And there's a point where they will not take any more. And that worries me. But yes, we have a separate program. Yes, we are on Mars, and yes, we are on the moon. And yes, we can take E.T. home.
¿Alguna otra opinión? ¿No?
Well, I have a small,
Bien, pues, continuando con... sí.
I have a small contribution to make.
Okay, please.
There is a program underway. It's not called Alternative 3. There apparently is a vast program underway in the United States to protect the elite. Now, whoever the hell they are, I don't know, but I know they're a group of people who have selected themselves to be the elite. In the event of a forthcoming disaster, they want to be protected. For years and years and years, we have been building in my country massive underground facilities. I was a part of that program when I worked for the Federal Emergency Management Agency for many, many years. I have been into some of those massive underground facilities. And let me tell you, they are literally underground cities. Now, originally they were designed because of the cold thermonuclear war threat. The Soviet Union threatened us. We were threatening them. There was a real danger for a long, long time that we might lose control of this matter and that there would be a thermonuclear war. And we were building these underground facilities. Billions of dollars were going into it. And they were survival facilities, primarily designed originally for the government. So in the event of a nuclear war, the government, the president, the executive branch, the Congress, the judicial, they could all go down in comfort in these massive facilities. There was underground reservoirs of water, stockpiles of food, stockpiles of medicine, and The original program that I was involved in during those years I was with FEMA was known as Continuity of Government. We called it, the acronym COG, the Continuity of Government Program, to protect the American government in the event of a thermonuclear war. That program has expanded to such a point that it will not merely accommodate the American government, but the program has expanded so that it could accommodate several million people. But the average American taxpayer doesn't know anything about this. And if there was a serious event forthcoming, which I do believe there is going to be a serious event involving the 10th planet, which is a reality that most people don't even want to talk about, that when this event occurs, when Planet X, as it were, makes its pass through the center of our solar system in the few short years ahead, we're going to be in very, very serious trouble. Because every time Nibiru, as the Sumerians called it, comes on its 3,600-year orbit, all hell breaks loose. There are hurricanes, there are tidal waves, there are earthquakes. The entire planet is affected. Well, these massive underground cities, I think, have been designed to protect the elite. And if the average American taxpayer finds out about this, there will be trouble. There will be blood in the streets.
And I want to confirm that what Bob is saying. I have had people who have worked with the Bechtel Corporation and others that have built these underground facilities, and I should also add underground connectors. You can go underground near Washington and surface hundreds of miles out in underground facilities. You can go underground near Edwards Air Force Base and surface very quickly with anti-grav propulsion systems.
They're known as maglev, yes, maglev systems.
And you will surface all the way over in at Nellis or up at Dugway Proving Grounds in Utah, or in the Dulce facility, which does exist. There is also a member of my team who's an electromagnetic engineer at Los Alamos who has confirmed to me that there is an underground connector from the Los Alamos National Laboratories area to the Four Corners Dulce area and continuing on to the Area 51 facility. It is also true that they do have these sort of contingency plans, and they are anticipating significant geophysical stress and distress in the near future. And this is something that most people don't want to hear a whole lot about. But they have used billions of dollars. And by the way, the tunneling system is way back as early 70s. A member of my team was read into or briefed on the device, and it's a nuclear-powered tunneling machine that literally turns enormous tunnels into like glassified rock. It's like glass and these massive tunnels. And many years ago, you may have heard these reports in New Mexico. There was something called the Taos Hum, and all the mystics thought it was some kind of earth energy or what have you. In reality, it was this tunnel being built from Los Alamos over to the Dulce facility. And as it went through the bedrock, it made this humming sound. And it was actually reported in Newsweek in the mainstream magazines. But of course, they would never tell the public what they were actually building. But yes, that's very true.
Since I'm blowing my cover and putting myself on the line here, I'll probably have my passport pulled from me when I go home next week. I will tell you a reality that I was stunned to find out that really exists. 10 stories down in the ground, in a place called S4, which is near Groom Lake, Site 51, there is a national laboratory where my friend told me he worked for 5 years, where he met these two visitors from another planet. There is a facility there, 10 stories underground, where you can go through a doorway in Nevada, have your bags packed, step through the doorway, and you are in Pine Gap, Australia.
That's correct.
You go through the door in Nevada, In the next moment, you are in Pine Gap, Australia. Now, people say, what the hell's going on at Pine Gap, Australia? Well, it happens to be probably the largest national security agency facility on the planet. And what's interesting about it, it is also the location of one of the largest extraterrestrial facilities on the planet, underground in the middle of Australia, at Pine Gap.
La última palabra de esta tarde la tiene el Dr. Brian O'Leary.
Yeah, I was just going to mention in Europe there's also Spitsbergen Island.